Hi class, not a lot to comment on right now. What it pretty much comes down to is you're doing a good job on your PMs, so that's not much of an issue. For your PTs, I'm letting it go for now, but the final PT gets graded much, much harder. What happens in the final PT, which is worth 200 points, is that you correct all the things I told you to do in the earlier PMs, and then you have the closing section, which is actually pretty short. And so that's the way it ends. However, I will ding you on formatting. And that's, you can't have a title and then have nothing written underneath it. That's points off. A lot of you are cutting your tables in half. That's points off. Some of you are putting, it will happen. You're going to put diagrams that I can't read. And what you need to do is, if you really have a wide diagram, so basically your main format is portrait, and then you're going to have to do a section break and then put it in landscape mode, and then basically create another section and then go back to portrait. So you need to do some editing and put some time into it. But I will take off for those kind of things because they matter. Also, read the IEEE formatting. I am not accepting AMA or other formats. You have to put in IEEE format. The only thing different is you don't have to put it into 2 columns. You could just have it as 1 page. But essentially, what I want are endnotes, and I want your references. Also, be careful about your references, because I will ding them also. They have to be complete, and the IEEE documents will tell you how to do that formatting. If you have any questions, let me know. Now, your submissions. You need to turn in 1 answer sheet, 1 file, and keep in mind, you could submit as many files as you want, but there has to be a primary file of where your answers have to be. And then you can have backup files where you show me your work. If you don't show me your work, I am going to start dinging you for points, because this is the thing I got really suspicious about some of your PMs. A lot of you cut and pasted the entire solution onto your documents. I can't tell if these are for real or are you copying off other people's work. And so that's why you need to show me, and so you can attach your Excel file or your hand documents or something like that. And that's also a way to get partial credit if there's something wrong. If I can catch it in a hurry, then maybe you only lose 1 point. If I can't figure out what on earth you're doing, then you tend to lose a lot of points. Now, this week's quiz. The first quiz, 5 people got 100, which pretty much tells me that the quiz was doable. So for those of you who are still kind of struggling with it, there are tons of practice problems on the internet in project management. You can just practice on those and try to get a feel for it. Essentially, the way to do a multiple choice exam is figure out what the keywords are, and then based on those keywords, see what the problem's asking, and do you really understand the concept of each thing? The concept that, the concept of risk is basically 2 things, the probability of it happening and the severity. And that's what your PM has to do about. Or in this upcoming one, when you start looking at network diagrams, what does critical path mean? What happens if you have a best case, a worst case, and an average case? How do you do that calculation? If you understand how things deviate, all those things matter. But those are the only things you need to know to understand time. And also costs. How much does it cost me to start compressing schedules or things like that? Those are the types of things that are going to be on the quiz. Now, on the quiz, there is 1 question. Pretty much 23 of your questions, worth 4 points apiece, are going to be multiple choice. And then the 24th question is actually going to be a calculation question. So you can write all your hands. There's only 1 right answer. Basically, I give you options of what to pick, and then you pick the right answer. So in that sense, there's no partial credit, but I will give partial credit if you type in, because the format is an essay answer, you can type in what your intermediate steps are. I will not accept files submitted to me by email or something like that after you're done. Whatever you have, whatever's on your scratch paper, you've got to type it into the exam, and so I've given you 10 extra minutes to do that. If you know what you're doing on this question, it doesn't take that long. If you don't know what you're doing, now we're talking about hours. If you have any questions, please let me know. And everybody, have a terrific week.